What if your CFO could, spend less time battling spreadsheets and more time actually stewing the ship? Imagine if all those core finance tasks just ran themselves, powered by smart AI.
Right.
That's kind of what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
Agentic CFO. Think AI agents taking over things like closing the books, forecasting,
Yeah.
the works.
Exactly. And this deep dive, we're tackling this really cutting-edge idea. The Agentic CFO, we're basing our discussion on a pretty comprehensive research report. It's just called the Agentic CFO, and it came out in May 2025.
Okay. So our goal here isn't just to talk about AI buzzwords. We want to really get under the skin of how this tech is, well, fundamentally changing finance teams and what a CFO actually does.
Yeah.
We want to figure out what's important here, maybe what's surprising, and what you really need to know to get your head around this big shift quickly. Okay, so let's just jump in. What is an agentic CFO fundamentally?
Well, to really get the agentic CFO, it helps to think back to, the traditional CFO role first.
Okay.
We're talking about someone overseeing the whole financial picture, right? Accounting, reporting, budgeting, forecasting, making sure everything's compliant legally, regulatorily, and of course, helping shape the overall company strategy.
Standard stuff, yeah.
Right. Now think about how tech has sort of crept into finance over the years. We had spreadsheets, obviously. Then ERP systems came along, those big central software packages.
Like SAP or Oracle?
Exactly. Those systems manage day-to-day stuff, finance included. Then we saw RPA, robotic process automation for the really repetitive clicking tasks. And then some basic AI started appearing, mostly for sifting through data.
Right. Tools that helped definitely boosted efficiency, but they still needed a lot of human hand-holding.
Precisely. The real game changer with this agentic AI wave is the autonomy, the independence. We're talking about AI making decisions, taking actions with way less direct human input. So picture these AI agents in finance. They're basically sophisticated software powered by advanced AI, machine learning, complex algorithms, stuff like that. They can perceive financial data, reason about it, and then execute tasks or make recommendations.
And they learn.
And critically, yes, they learn. They adapt to changes, get better over time. The tech behind this, you'll hear about LLMs, large language models.
Like ChatGPT, but for finance.
Sort of, yeah. Giving the AI the ability to understand and talk finance in human terms. Then there's generative AI creating new models, drafting reports. And reinforcement learning, that's how they refine strategies based on what works and what doesn't.
So the agentic CFO idea.
Yeah.
It's not like we're literally swapping the human CFO for a robot then.
No, not according to this 2025 report anyway. It's more about a future where these AI agents handle a huge chunk of the, let's call it the operational grind.
Like closing the books?
Closing the books, yeah. Generating forecasts regularly, constantly checking for compliance issues, that kind of day-to-day work.
And the human CFO.
The human CFO's role shifts. It becomes more about orchestration. Overseeing these AI systems, making the really big strategic calls based on the AI's insights, and handling the complex judgments that still need, human experience and context.
Okay, that's a really important distinction. So it's augmentation, not replacement. What's actually making this possible now? What are the key technologies driving this shift towards more autonomous finance?
It's really a convergence, a few powerful things coming together. First, just the sheer amount of data we have now, both internal data from those ERPs, CRMs, and external stuff like live market feeds. AI thrives on data, and we've just got oceans of it now. And crucially, the tools to integrate all that data are much better, breaking down those old silos.
Where finance data was stuck in one system, sales in another.
Exactly. Now it can flow more freely. So that's piece one, data explosion and integration.
Makes sense. More data, better flow. What's next?
Second, the AI itself is just getting much, much smarter. We're talking advanced machine learning, including deep learning. These algorithms are now incredibly good at finding really complex patterns in financial data, things humans might miss. And they improve predictions over time. Techniques like neural networks.
Which mimic the brain, kind of?
Loosely, yeah. They help the AI learn complex relationships in the data. Ensemble models, reinforcement learning, it all adds up to AI being able to tackle much harder financial problems.
Okay, so the number crunching brain is getting way more powerful. But finance isn't just numbers, right? There's loads of text regulations, contracts, reports.
Absolutely. And that's where the third piece comes in, breakthroughs in natural language processing, NLP, especially large language models, the LLMs we mentioned.
Right.
These let AI understand and generate text that sounds, well, human, For finance, this is huge. AI can now read dense regulations, figure out the nuances in contracts, even draft reports that make sense.
Wow. So it can read the fine print and explain it.
Essentially, yeah. Or use that understanding to ensure compliance, for instance. This ability to process language is critical for both understanding financial context and explaining AI findings back to humans.
That's massive for things like compliance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got data, smart algorithms, language understanding. I'm guessing this all takes some serious computing power.
Oh, definitely. And that leads to the fourth enabler, cloud computing and scalability.
The cloud.
Yeah, cloud platforms provide the kind of massive processing power and speed you need to run these complex AI models, especially when you're dealing with enormous data sets. Plus, it gives companies flexibility. They can scale up their AI resources as needed.
Right. So the infrastructure is there. Now, how do all these pieces, the data, the snarts, the language skills, actually do stuff autonomously? How do they work together?
That's where you get into what are called autonomous agent frameworks. Think of these as the operating system or the architecture that lets the AI plan and execute sequences of actions. It allows them to make decisions to reach specific goals, like, say, minimizing tax liability, and adapt based on what happens.
So it's like the conductor telling the different AI parts what to do.
Exactly. It enables different AI components, maybe one for forecasting, one for compliance checking, one for transaction processing, to work together seamlessly towards a bigger objective, like optimizing cash flow, for example. That requires coordinating forecasts, identifying investment options, checking policies. These frameworks manage that coordination.
Fascinating. It's like building an intelligent financial machine. Okay, so with these technologies as the foundation, what specific things can an agentic CFO system actually do? Let's get concrete. What are the capabilities?
Okay, core capabilities. One big area is just autonomous financial operations. Think transaction processing and bookkeeping.
The daily grind.
Right. AI agents automatically recording and classifying transactions, auto-categorizing expenses, doing that three-way match between invoices, purchase orders, receipts, even posting journal entries. All with much less human touch.
That alone sounds like it would save incredible amounts of time and reduce errors. What else in operations?
Financial analysis and forecasting get a major boost. AI can generate rolling forecasts constantly updated with the latest data. It can perform variance analysis automatically, explaining why results differ from the budget, and run complex scenario analyses really quickly.
Like, what happens if interest rates jump 0.5%?
Exactly. Or what's the impact if our main supplier raises prices by 10%? The AI can model that out fast.
So much more forward-looking, much more agile in planning.
Definitely. Then there's real-time monitoring and anomaly detection. AI is brilliant at spotting patterns, right?
Yeah.
So it can constantly scan transactions, account balances, looking for anything weird, potential errors, signs of fraud, operational glitches. It flags them instantly, like a continuous internal audit happening all the time.
Catching problems early, before they snowball. That's huge. What about compliance? Keeping up with all the rules.
Compliance and regulatory adherence, another key area. You can essentially program AI agents with detailed knowledge of tax laws, accounting standards, industry rules.
Like IFRS or GAAP.
Precisely. And they can automatically check transactions and processes against those rules. Some advanced systems even use that NLP capability to read new regulations as they come out and update their internal checks automatically.
Wow. Like having a super diligent, always up-to-date compliance officer built in. What about getting information out of the system? Can you just talk to it?
Yes, that's the natural language query and reporting part. Executives, finance teams, they can ask the AI questions in plain English.
Like,
what was our revenue in the West region last quarter? Or draft a summary of our cash flow performance. The AI finds the data, does the math if needed, and gives you an answer in normal language, or even generates a draft report.
that cuts out so much report pulling and analysis time. Makes insights much more accessible. And it's not just reporting on the past, is it? Can it suggest what to do?
Absolutely. Decision support and recommendation is a big one. Based on its analysis, the AI might suggest actions.
Such as?
Maybe recommending how to invest surplus cash for better returns, or suggesting tweaks to credit policies to reduce bad debt risk, or even proposing initial budget allocations based on trends and projections, complete with the data backing up why.
So it's moving from just processing to actually providing informed suggestions. Okay, that's a powerful set of capabilities. Now, you mentioned the architecture earlier. Can we briefly look under the hood again? How is this technically structured? It sounds incredibly complex.
It is complex, but you can think of it in layers. At the base, you need a solid data integration layer.
Connecting all the sources.
Right, ERPs, CRMs, market data feeds, everything. Often using data lakes or warehouses to get the data clean and consistent. That's foundational.
Got it. Data first.
Then you typically have a knowledge repository and rules engine. This is where the system stores the company's specific business rules, accounting policies, reference data like historical financials, regulations, maybe using knowledge graphs to connect information. It's the AI's reference library and rule book.
So it knows how this specific company operates financially.
Exactly. Then comes the core brain, the analytics and AI models layer. This is where the machine learning, the statistical models, the NLP engines live. They do the heavy lifting forecasting, anomaly detection, language understanding, and crucially, this layer often includes continuous learning capabilities.
So it gets smarter over time.
Hopefully, yes. Then, managing all these models, you have the autonomous agent controller. This is the orchestrator we talked about. It coordinates the actions of different AI components to achieve broader goals, like managing the entire month-end close process. It might even involve multiple AI agents collaborating.
Okay, the conductor of the AI orchestra. What about the humans interacting with it?
That's the user interface and collaboration tools layer. This includes things like dashboards for visualization, maybe chat or voice interfaces to interact with the AI, and really important features for explainability the AI needs to show its work. Plus, you need override mechanisms. Humans have to be able to step in.
Crucial. And finally,
Underpinning everything, security and controls. Robust access controls, detailed audit logs, sandboxes for safe testing, and those explainability features, sometimes called XAI, are all vital for protecting sensitive data and ensuring accountability.
okay, that gives a good sense of the moving parts. It's definitely an intricate system.
Yeah.
So, given all that potential, what was the reality on the ground back in May 2025, according to the report? How far had companies actually gotten with this agentic CFO stuff?
The report suggested that by May 2025, adoption was, well, definitely happening, but it varied a lot. Automation of the really routine, high-volume tasks is becoming pretty common.
Like what specifically?
Accounts payable, accounts receivable, processing invoices automatically, predicting when customers would pay. Those kinds of areas saw significant uptake first.
Makes sense. Tackling the low-hanging fruit, the most repetitive work.
Mm-hmm.
What about more strategic stuff, like FP&A?
In FP&A financial planning and analysis, AI was acting more like a powerful assistant. It was doing the heavy lifting of pulling data together from all over the place, generating those continuous forecasts we mentioned, setting baseline budgets, and even creating first drafts of narrative reports like the MD&A section in annual report.
MD&A, Management Discussion and Analysis.
Right.
So it freed up the human analysts.
Exactly. Freed them up to focus more on interpreting the data, understanding the why behind the numbers, and contributing more strategically.
Okay, so AI as a kind of super analyst or co-pilot. What about real-time visibility? Were dashboards getting smarter?
Yes, real-time dashboards and alerts were a growing trend. AI-enhanced dashboards weren't just showing data. They were proactively flagging things based on learned patterns of what's normal, and sometimes even providing AI-generated explanations for why something looked off, like a sudden budget overrun.
That's useful.
And virtual financial assistants were emerging too. AI chatbots that employees could ask finance questions, what's the status of my expense report, or what's the policy for travel, and get instant answers.
Like an internal finance help desk available 24/7. Interesting. And compliance, you mentioned that earlier. Was continuous audit becoming real?
It was starting to. Companies were adopting AI tools for continuous monitoring of internal controls, reviewing basically every transaction for compliance red flags, not just samples, and using NLP to keep tabs on changing regulations.
Wow.
The report even mentioned some early pioneers achieving incredibly fast financial closes daily or hourly in some cases, and using AI for sophisticated treasury management, like automating cash movements or hedging currency risks.
Daily closes. That's a radical shift from monthly or quarterly.
It really is. But the report was also clear. May 2025 was still very much a transition period. The dominant model was strong AI-human collaboration. Think co-pilots, not full automation.
Humans still firmly in the driver's seat for big decisions.
Absolutely. Fully autonomous decisions, especially critical ones, were still approached very cautiously, and adoption levels were uneven. Some industries and larger companies were further ahead than others.
Okay, so significant progress, but definitely still evolving, with humans very much needed. Now, let's talk about the why. Why are companies pushing towards this agentic CFO model? What's the big draw, the core benefits?
Oh, the benefits are potentially huge. First off, operational efficiency and cost savings. That's a big driver.
Doing more with less.
Essentially, automating tasks means faster completion, lower labor costs for routine work, and the ability to run finance processes 247 if needed. Speed and agility are also key benefits. Real-time information means faster reaction times to problems or opportunities.
Right. Being able to pivot quickly is critical today. What about just getting the numbers right?
Yeah.
Accuracy.
Improved accuracy and fewer errors, definitely. AI is consistent. It doesn't have bad days.
Yeah.
It can perform complex calculations over and over and cross-check data relentlessly, reducing manual errors.
Yeah.
But maybe even more importantly, it enables enhanced decision-making through data-driven insights. AI can find patterns in complex data that humans just can't see easily. It can run those scenario analyses we talked about. That empowers leaders to make smarter, more strategic choices based on evidence, not just gut feel.
So better decisions on top of faster, cheaper operations. What about risk? Compliance.
Big benefits there too, continuous compliance monitoring and risk mitigation. Because the AI is always watching, it can flag non-compliance or potential fraud much earlier. That reduces risk significantly. Plus, scalability and flexibility are important. AI systems can often handle increased workloads from growth more easily than hiring and training lots of people.
And you mentioned freeing up people earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge benefit. Shifting highly skilled finance professionals away from tedious, repetitive tasks allows them to focus on higher value work. Strategy, complex problem solving, collaborating with other parts of the business.
Making the finance team more strategic overall.
Exactly. And it can even improve communication with stakeholders, investors, the board. AI can help generate clearer reports, better visualizations, more compelling data-backed narratives. The report likely cited examples like slashing days off the month-end close, cutting operational costs by X%, or boosting forecast accuracy significantly. Those quantifiable benefits really build the case.
Okay, that's a really compelling list of advantages. Efficiency, speed, accuracy, insights, risk reduction, scalability, and empowering people. Let's make this even more real. Can you give us some specific examples across different finance areas, how it does actually look in practice? Let's start with FP&A.
Sure. In FP&A, imagine an AI tool that automatically pulls data from sales systems, marketing platforms, economic forecasts, everything. It consolidates it all seamlessly.
No more manual data wrangling.
Right. Then it generates, say, a highly accurate sales forecast for a retail company, factoring in seasonality, promotions, competitor actions, maybe even weather patterns. For budgeting, it could automate variance analysis, maybe for a marketing department. It flags that spending on digital ads is way over budget and provides an initial explanation based on campaign data.
Okay.
And scenario planning. Picture asking it. Model the impact of a moderate recession next year. And it doesn't just spit out numbers, it generates charts and a narrative summary explaining the potential effects on revenue, costs, and cash flow.
Wow, that makes planning much more dynamic and insightful. What about the core accounting side, the debits and credits?
In accounting and the financial close, think automated bookkeeping. AI reading vendor invoices, automatically assigning the right codes, matching them to purchase orders.
Reducing manual entry errors.
Significantly. Reconciliation becomes faster, too. AI matching bank statements against the general ledger automatically. For companies with multiple subsidiaries, it could dramatically speed up the consolidation process for the financial closes and even help draft parts of the financial reports, like that MD&A section, pulling key numbers and trends automatically.
That sounds like it could take days, maybe weeks off the closing cycle for complex companies. What about managing the company's cash treasury?
In treasury and cash management, AI could optimize cash flow. Maybe it identifies temporary surplus cash across different bank accounts and automatically suggests or even executes short-term investments to get a better return within preset risk parameters, of course.
Okay.
Or managing foreign exchange risk. AI could monitor currency markets 247 and recommend or execute hedging strategies automatically. For investment portfolios, it could constantly assess risk exposure and flag potential issues.
So making treasury much more proactive and data-driven, less reactive, risk and compliance seems like a perfect fit too.
Definitely. For risk management and compliance, imagine AI constantly monitoring transactions against regulations. For a bank, maybe checking capital adequacy ratios in real time.
Okay.
Fraud detection AI spotting unusual transaction patterns that might indicate payment fraud or employee expense abuse. Internal controls AI could monitor workflows to ensure proper segregation of duties is maintained. And it automatically creates detailed audit trails for everything it does, making audits smoother.
Like a digital watchdog, always alert. What about the spending side, procurement expenses?
In procurement and expense management, AI can analyze spending patterns across the whole company. Maybe it identifies that you're using 5 different suppliers for the same type of office supplies and suggests consolidating to get better pricing.
Finding hidden savings.
Exactly. It could automate purchase order processing, checking requests against budgets and policies instantly. For employee expenses, think AI scanning receipts from a photo, checking them against travel policies automatically, and flagging exceptions. It could even analyze vendor performance data to help make better sourcing decisions next time.
So optimizing the whole procure-to-pay cycle for efficiency and cost savings. Okay, one more area. Those big strategic decisions. How does AI help there?
Strategic decision support is an emerging but powerful area. For mergers and acquisitions, M&A, AI can rapidly analyze target company financials during due diligence, helping to identify risks and potential synergies much faster than manual teams could.
Speeding up M&A.
Yeah. For deciding where to invest capital, AI could simulate the potential ROI of different projects under various market scenarios. Market intelligence AI could analyze competitor announcements or market trends to predict their impact on your business. It could even help draft initial versions of board presentations, pulling together the key data and analyses needed for strategic discussions.
So from the nitty-gritty transactions right up to informing board-level strategy, AI is touching basically everything in finance. Now, who's actually building and selling these tools? What's the market look like?
It's a busy space. You've got the big established enterprise software companies, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, Workday. They're all embedding AI capabilities directly into their core finance platforms, their ERPs, their cloud suites.
So AI features are becoming standard in the big systems.
Increasingly, yes. Oracle might have machine learning for finding anomalies in transactions. SAP might offer predictive accounting features. Their big advantage is usually the tight integration with the systems companies already use and, the trust factor that comes with a big name. Potential downside, maybe not always the absolute cutting-edge tech, and you might need to upgrade your whole system.
Right, the incumbents are adapting.
Yeah.
What about newer, more focused companies?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole ecosystem of specialized finance AI startups. They often focus on specific niches. Some focus purely on automating accounting tasks, like invoice processing companies like Vic.ai or BotKeeper come to mind. Others specialize in streamlining the financial close, like Blackline. You've got FP&A specialists like Anaplan or Pigment using AI for smarter planning. Then there are startups focusing on spend management, risk, and compliance tools like MindBridge AI, or even offering full virtual CFO services powered by AI, often targeted at smaller businesses.
So lots of innovation happening in specific areas. Integration might be more of a challenge there, maybe.
That can be the trade-off, yes. Niche expertise versus seamless integration. Then you also have the major consulting firms and systems integrators, Deloitte, EY, PwC, KPMG, Accenture.
The Big Four and others.
Right. They're playing a huge role. They help companies figure out their AI strategy for finance. They help implement these solutions, often using their own proprietary tools or methods. And they guide companies through the change management, which is critical.
So they're the guides and implementers in many cases. What are the big market trends overall?
Well, first, high adoption rates and strong market growth. Surveys show companies are definitely investing here. We're also seeing convergence and consolidation, bigger players acquiring innovative startups.
Oh,
The rise of powerful cloud AI platforms from Google, Amazon, Microsoft is also a factor, making it easier for companies to build their own custom AI tools. Regulations are starting to shape the market too, especially in financial services, and you're seeing user communities and even open source projects emerging in the AI finance space.
and does it differ by company size?
Yes, definitely. Large enterprises have different needs and adoption patterns compared to mid-sized companies or small businesses, SMBs. SMBs might lean more towards those integrated cloud platforms or virtual CFO services.
Okay, a very dynamic landscape.
Okay.
But it can't all be smooth sailing. With technology this transformative, there must be some serious challenges or roadblocks companies face when trying to implement an agentic CFO.
Oh, absolutely. The report would definitely highlight these. It's crucial for a balanced view. A major one is data quality and availability.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Precisely. AI needs good, clean, accessible data. But many companies still struggle with data stuck in different silos, inconsistent formats, errors. Just getting the data house in order is a huge effort before you can even really leverage AI effectively.
So data prep is a big hurdle. What else?
Integrating these new AI tools with existing systems, especially older legacy systems, can be really complex and expensive. It's often not plug and play.
Ripping out old systems isn't always feasible.
Exactly. Then there's the cost itself and the uncertainty around ROI. These systems can require significant investment, upfront software, implementation, maybe new skills, and proving the financial return isn't always straightforward, especially initially.
So it requires a leap of faith sometimes.
To some extent, yes. And then there's the huge challenge of change management and the impact on the workforce.
The people side.
Yeah. Employees might resist changes they don't understand or feel threatened by. There's a real need for training, reskilling, and addressing concerns about job security head-on. That takes careful planning and communication.
Definitely. What about trusting the AI itself? Especially if it's complex.
That's a big one. Trust and explainability. AI models, especially deep learning, can be like black boxes. It's hard to see exactly why they made a particular prediction or recommendation.
And in finance, you need to know why.
You absolutely do, especially for audits or regulatory scrutiny. This lack of transparency can be a major barrier. And related to that is the fact that AI can make mistakes. Algorithms might have flaws, training data might contain biases leading to unfair outcomes, or the AI might just not handle unexpected edge cases well.
So it's not infallible. It needs oversight.
Constant oversight, especially for critical tasks. Security and privacy are also massive concerns. Financial data is incredibly sensitive. Protecting these AI systems and the data they use from cyber attacks is paramount, as is complying with data privacy regulations like GDPR.
Huge responsibility there. And the legal side.
Regulatory and legal uncertainty is another challenge. The rules around using AI in finance are still evolving. Who's liable if an AI makes a costly error? Those questions are still being worked out. And fundamentally, there are things AI just can't do well yet. It lacks true human judgment, ethical reasoning, the ability to understand subtle context, or demonstrate leadership. It might optimize a process perfectly, but miss the bigger strategic picture or the human impact.
So it can't replace that core human leadership and ethical judgment.
Not currently, no. AI bias is also a serious ethical concern. If the training data reflects historical biases, the AI can perpetuate or even amplify them. So the report likely stressed the need for a very careful, holistic approach. Gradual implementation, strong governance, keeping humans in the loop for key decisions, and constant vigilance about these limitations.
It sounds like the potential is enormous, but the path requires real care and attention to these challenges. Okay, let's look ahead. Based on the trends in the 2025 report, what's next? What does the future hold for the Agentic CFO and autonomous finance?
The trajectory points towards even more advanced autonomous agents, maybe multi-agent systems where different AIs collaborate like a digital team. You might see an AI effectively acting as a digital chief accountant, orchestrating many operational tasks.
Wow.
Generative AI is likely to get integrated even more deeply. Imagine AI participating in meetings, summarizing discussions, maybe even simulating negotiation outcomes or audit procedures.
AI joining the meeting. That's quite a thought.
Yeah. And the idea of continuous audit and real-time financial statements could become the norm, not the exception. Maybe using technologies like blockchain for added security and verification, providing continuous assurance.
So finance becomes truly real-time. How does the human CFO role evolve further in that world?
The CFO role likely continues shifting towards being an AI orchestrator, overseeing the AI architecture, setting the governance, ensuring ethical use. We might see new roles emerge like AI finance manager or similar titles focused specifically on managing these systems. Tech literacy becomes absolutely non-negotiable for finance leaders.
So CFOs need to become more tech-savvy, essentially.
Definitely. Decision-making itself could change too. Faster planning cycles become possible. Companies might use sophisticated digital twin models of their entire business to simulate the impact of major strategic decisions before committing.
Running simulations of the future. What about interactions outside finance?
We'll likely see much more collaboration between the finance AI and AI systems in other departments, supply chain, sales, marketing, leading towards more holistic, enterprise-wide optimization. The Agentic CFO is really just one piece of a bigger move towards the autonomous enterprise.
Breaking down silos using AI.
Exactly. And importantly, these tools should become more accessible over time. Cloud software upgrades will bring AI to more mid-sized companies, and those virtual CFO services will likely mature, bringing sophisticated capabilities to smaller businesses too. Democratization is a key trend.
That's great, leveling the playing field. What about regulations and the people aspect?
We'll almost certainly see more formal regulatory frameworks and standards developed specifically for AI in finance. Regulators themselves might even start using AI more regtech. On the human side, the transformation continues. We'll need more hybrid roles finance pros with data science skills, AI specialists embedded within finance teams.
So, ongoing evolution of skills needed.
Yes, and ethics will remain front and center. More companies will likely publish formal guidelines on how they use AI ethically. Maybe even programming AI to consider ethical principles or company values in its recommendations, though that's complex. But ultimately, the future painted is one of synergy. AI handling the computation, the pattern matching, the automation at scale.
While humans provide the strategy, the judgment, the ethical oversight, the leadership.
Precisely. A partnership where each plays to their strengths, leading to a more strategic and insightful finance function overall.
That's a really compelling vision of the future, built on
Yeah.
the foundations laid out in that 2025 report. A powerful blend of human expertise and AI capabilities. So if we had to boil it all down, what's the single most important takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the core message is that AI in finance isn't sci-fi anymore. It's here, it's evolving incredibly fast, and it's fundamentally changing how finance works. The opportunities for efficiency, for insight, for strategic impact are immense. But realizing those benefits isn't automatic. It requires careful planning, addressing those challenges around data, integration, change management, trust, and ethics. It needs a strategic approach, not just plugging in technology.
Right. And for you, listening to this, as you think about your own career, your own company's finance function,
Yeah,
the message seems clear. Now's the time to engage with this.
absolutely.
Think about how you can prepare, how your organization can leverage these changes strategically. Maybe that means digging into AI governance frameworks. Maybe it means looking into some of those virtual CFO services if you're in a smaller company. It's about starting that journey.
Yeah.
Because the evolution of the Agentic CFO isn't stopping. It's a continuous journey. And it really does hold the potential to unlock completely new levels of performance and strategic value in finance.